Welcome to MVK eLearn. Hello there, this is Miss Kaine, your science teacher. Welcome to the amazing world of science and technology. Get your science journal and listen carefully. Enjoy the lesson and write down important facts. Science really matters. Here are the field of studies in science. Biology, which is the study of life. Chemistry, which deals with the identification of the substances. And physics, which is the natural science that studies matter, its motion and behavior through space and time. Today, let's do biology, specifically ecology. Ecology is the interactions within the environment. Why are we created the way we are created? Tricky, isn't it? In today's lesson, there are things that you need to remember. First is ecology. What is ecology? It is the study of the interactions among organisms and their environments. So how are animals interacting with its environment? How are plants and other organisms, microorganisms, interact with one another? We are going to study all of this. Ecosystem. All of the living and non-living features of an environment. Look at this picture. You'll see the interaction of living and non-living things. The sun, atmosphere, air, and water are non-living features. Yet, these are important factors for living things to survive. In an ecosystem, there are important factors that we need to consider. First is the abiotic factors. Abiotic factors are those things that are non-living in an environment. For example, water, air, soil, and sunlight. The other factor is what we call biotic factors. These are all the living components in an ecosystem. Examples are trees, plants, animals, insects, bacteria, and humans. Biomes. It is a large geographic areas with similar climates and ecosystems. For example, snowy tundra, desert, tropical rainforest. So look at this world map. You can see different colors, and each color corresponds to a biome. For example, if you will look at the green color, so all of the areas with green color, that is taiga. Or the pink one. All areas with pink, which is just a few, has temperate evergreen forest. So you might want to go there. We always come across the word organism. So what is organism? Organisms or organism or any single living thing within an ecosystem. So we have different types of ecosystem, and in this picture I'm showing you ecosystem underwater. Isn't it beautiful? Habitat. The place where organisms get the types of food, shelter, moisture, and temperature that it needs. So as you look at this picture, you can see a bee or bees sucking up the nectar of a flower, and it is the bee's habitat. We don't usually say this word in science, but we also have the word niche. Niche is the unique way that organisms survives within its environment or its job within the environment. So monkeys have adapted a way in order for them to survive, and that is climbing trees. Another important factor in the ecosystem is population. It means organisms live in groups within their ecosystem, and certain features of that ecosystem can affect how that population lives and thrives. So as you look at this picture, when we consider human population, this is how rapid human population increases and decreases by seconds. Limiting factor. Limiting factor is anything that can limit the size of a population, including living and non-living features of an ecosystem. So for example, if a person is deprived with shelter, there is nothing that could protect that person from climate changes. Having said that, a living person's life could be in danger. Potentially, a person could die, causing the population to decrease in number. Another important factor to consider when talking about ecosystem, especially underpopulation, is carrying capacity. Carrying capacity means that the largest number of individuals of a particular species that an ecosystem can support over time. A simple example of this is shown in this image. So as you can see, at first the population of crab is low. There are only 3 crabs in the island. So these crabs thrive until it increases its number. So the small island cannot offer the needs of the crabs any longer because this island can only offer for, let's say, 10 crabs. So as the crabs keeps on increasing in number and it hits its maximum carrying capacity, eventually some of the crabs will die. Okay, let's talk about energy flow. Energy flow is the transfer of energy from one organism to another. So look at this ladder. So it is actually following a certain step. So from producers, we have the primary consumer or the herbivores getting its energy from plants. Then The secondary consumers, or what we call the small carnivores, will get its energy from consuming herbivores, and so on and so forth. So all of this energy flow came from only one source, which is solar energy. How about energy pyramid? Energy pyramid traces the path of energy through an ecosystem. So when you look at this picture, it has a decreasing energy available to the next trophic level. So it's in a shape of a pyramid because the energy that is consumed by one organism to another organism going up decreases. To elaborate on our topic earlier about energy level, let's talk about the trophic level. Trophic level. An energy pyramid shows the direction that energy flows, and each level on the pyramid is called trophic level. So this is how it looks like. So the trophic levels are producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. For producers, they get 100% energy from the sun. So as the primary consumer consumes this energy from producers, so they'll eat grass. So for example, a cow eating grass or a mouse eating grass, it gets 10% energy from the sun. So this is the rule of 10. Then the secondary consumer eats the mouse, or the snake eats the mouse, it will get 10% of its energy. So from 100%, it will go down to 10%, and from 10%, it will go down to 1%. So how about for the tertiary consumer? When it consumes, the secondary consumer, like the hawk will eat the snake, it will only get 0.1% of energy from the sun. So as you can see, as it goes up, in every level, the level of energy decreases. Let's identify its trophic levels. Let's start from producers, or the first trophic level. Organisms that can make their own food. So the organisms that can make their own food, plants. And consumers. Consumers occupy the second, third, and fourth trophic levels. So these are organisms that need to consume food from another source, such as a producer or another consumer. So as you can see here, examples of these consumers are a caterpillar, frog, and a snake. So everything that I've stated follows a cycle. So when we say cycle, it goes back. It goes back to the earth. So how does this happen? This happens because there are decomposers. So decomposers return nutrients to the soil by consuming waste and dead organisms. So these are the decomposers. Examples are fungi, which you can see all around us, and bacteria. There's bacteria everywhere. Let me show you the feeding cycle in an ecosystem. So the simplest way to show this is through food chain. Food chain shows how energy or food energy is passed from one organism to the next. Okay, look at this image. So from solar energy, it will pass to plants. Okay, plants get its nutrients from the sun, from water, nutrients from the soil, and all of these nutrients will be passed on to the grasshopper. So the grasshopper will get 10% of its nutrients from grass, and the mouse will eat the grasshopper. Now the mouse gets 10% of energy from the grasshopper. Again, the snake will eat the mouse, and the snake will get 10% of energy from the mouse, and the hawk will feed on to the snake. So the hawk will get 10% of energy from the snake. So when the hawk dies, the decomposers will help its body to be decomposed by the aid of mushrooms and bacteria, and it will go back to the soil. So it's a chain, it's a loop, it's a cycle, and it's life. A more complex way of showing this feeding network is food web. So there are interconnected food chains inside the food web. So as you can see here, it's like many food chains in one. And all of these things that you can see here are consumers consuming one organism to another organism, and it is also following a certain cycle. Okay, so let's talk about the key players in the feeding activity. So we have what we call a predator. A predator is an animal that hunts and kills another animal for food. The best example is a lion. And of course, if there is a predator, we also have a prey. A prey is the animal that is hunted and caught for food. So as you can see here, it's a hawk catching a fish. So the hawk is the predator and the fish is its prey. What are the different types of consumers? First, we have carnivores. So these are animals that eat mainly meat. This includes insects and all animals. So examples of these carnivores are the felines. So when we say felines, they are the lions, tigers, and all cats. Birds of prey. We have the eagles, hawks, owls, and many more types of birds. Sharks, frogs, spiders. Another type of consumer are omnivores. These are animals able to eat plants and animals. So what are animals that are able to eat plants and animals? They are included here. Humans, most bears, raccoons, most primates, seagulls, and other birds. And lastly, herbivores. These are animals that eat mainly plants. This includes leaves, grass, flowers, seeds, roots, fruits, bark, pollen, and much more. So some herbivores are deer, horses, rabbits, cows, bees, sheep, and grasshoppers. Okay, now let's talk about another important topic. I'm sure you love this topic because it's about relationship. And we call that in science symbiosis. So symbiosis is any close relationship between different species, including mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. So as you can see, there's Nemo. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a clownfish. A clownfish and sea anemone. So they have a mutual relationship. Okay, let's talk about mutualism. This is when both species benefit from the relationship. You call it mutual relationship. There's Nemo again. Oh, a clownfish and the sea anemone. So it's where the clownfish really hides to stay away from its predator. Another type of relationship is commensalism. Commensalism is if one species benefit from the other organism and the other organism doesn't really get anything out of it. So for example, the remora and the shark. Remora wants to attach itself on shark so that it can travel far. But actually the shark is not getting anything from remora. Okay, lastly, we have parasitism. This is the relationship that I hate. Because one organism gets help in the relationship and the other organism is harmed. Okay, like tick, these parasites. When it gets through the skin, it sucks your blood, and then after that, it will just leave you to be hurt and so itchy. Sometimes it can it can also give you diseases. There you have it. Thank you for watching. So for questions, please email me. This is my email address, ariankane@gmail.com. And don't forget, because I'll send you a worksheet for you to answer. Until next time, see ya!